Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Sidebar Social. I'm your host, Jennifer Grinke.
Why? Always. You do that. I don't know. I'm a host too, but you steal my thunder. Hi, everybody. I'm Dana Stewart, the co-host. Yeah, thank you. I'm second chair. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Hello, Jen.
Yeah. How's it going?
It's going
obviously
pretty well.
in a good mood today.
Yeah, not in a bad mood. So
Yeah.
is that a bad thing?
No, it's good.
You like
I wore
my
my
vibes?
chess outfit, so I'm ready.
I know. Little Miss Gambit over here, Queen's Gambit. I
Yeah.
like it. You don't even play chess, though.
You don't know what I do?
Name 2 different pieces on a chessboard.
A horse?
Besides a queen. No, it's not called a horse.
The king?
Okay, a king, and name
Hold on.
one more.
Oh, wait. No, actually don't know. What's that one?
That's a pawn.
Pawn. I
Okay.
knew that one.
Okay, there you go. Good job. Jen is an extremely high-level chess player, apparently. Yeah, the horse.
Yeah.
My horse takes your king. Okay. Anyways, so let's talk today. We're going to do a little something different. Let's get into teaching folks at home I feel like we've brought in many different experts, different roles that people may have in their case. Talk a little bit about the person that we're having on today and the role that they fulfill a lot.
Yeah, so today we have on Jennifer Richardson. She often acts in cases as an amicus attorney, and Dana is as well an amicus attorney. And so let's welcome her on. Hey, Jen.
Thank you.
How are you?
Hey, I'm great.
Good.
It was all I could do not to go, nay, when you said horse earlier.
Me too.
It's her horse. She knows the horse. So you were here before when we were
was.
filming an episode with your hubby.
Yes.
Yes.
But Dana looks a little different now, right?
He
Isn't
does. A little
What's going on here?
You know what it is, Jen? So Jen is a fellow hockey fan. We
Go
are
Stars.
both Dallas Stars fans. And I just feel like I'm embracing the beard for the hockey.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's what it
yes.
is. So,
Okay.
yeah. We actually see each other at games a lot.
We do.
So, yeah.
I shaved mine.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, you're not embracing the hockey beard?
So, talk to us a little bit. I guess let's start big picture because I feel like there's clarity or confusion. We need to bring clarity on what is an amicus attorney. What does that mean?
Okay. So an amicus attorney is, I like to say, a long arm of the court. So I am appointed by the court. Sometimes the parties both agree, but I'm appointed to investigate and figure out what's in the best interest of the children or the child in that case.
Right.
Right.
And when we talk about you're appointed or sometimes parties agree, what would you say typical case that you're appointed on? I mean, meaning it could be a divorce, it could be child custody, it could be both of those.
Right. I'm typically appointed on cases where mom and dad are no longer kissing under the mistletoe. They are cases in which there is significant conflict going on between the parents on what is in the best interest of the kids.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, go ahead.
No, you go. Ladies first. You're the host. I'm the co-host.
I'm the chess player. So it could be on the entire case or just a limited issue. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah. So I think it's fairly typical for there to be specific issues that I am appointed to investigate. A lot of times parents want to, one parent is saying that one significant thing is happening and the other parent is saying just the opposite. And so they want me to come in and figure out what's actually happening.
Can you give an example of an issue like that where parents disagree on what's going on with their child?
Yeah. One that I can think of would be one parent is saying that the other parent is not paying attention to the child, is not engaged with the child, is not spending time with the child, and therefore they shouldn't have, let's say, a 50-50 custody anymore.
Okay.
And the other parent is saying, I'm absolutely involved with these children. I'm involved on a day-to-day basis. I am spending time with the child. And, it's almost always a complete he said, she said on very significant issues, if that makes sense.
It does. And I feel like that's what judges hear too.
Yeah.
At a hearing, but then they have just a short amount of time to try to figure it out, which
Right.
is where I think your role as the amicus can be handy. Can you talk a little bit about what you do in the role? So once you're appointed, because you get a lot more time to investigate than a judge
Absolutely.
does.
Yeah. So the way I start out a case where I'm appointed as an amicus attorney, I usually meet with each of the attorneys, mom's attorney, dad's attorney. Then I do a meeting with each of the parents, usually just a phone call or maybe a Zoom meeting. From there, I schedule an in-home visit with each parent. When I go to the in-home visit, I want to meet with everybody that lives in the home or is involved in the kids' lives on a day-to-day basis. So let's say dad has a girlfriend that doesn't live there but is there a lot of the time, and dad's girlfriend's kid is there a lot of the time. I want all of those people to be present at the in-home visit when I come in. I typically will ask the parents to invite me for dinner. I've found that kids just kind of relate a little easier if I'm sitting at the dinner table with the family. I don't want the parents to tell the kids who I am or why I'm there. And so if I kind of just slide in at the dinner table with them, that kind of bridges a little easier familial relationship with the kids to start off with. It also is great for me at a dinner table to be watching how this family is interacting with one another. It's priceless.
Okay, I didn't know that you guys don't want the kid to know why you're there.
No, I
Okay.
don't. No, yeah.
And so what are they think you're like the cool aunt or like some new aunt, some long lost aunt, like just hanging out one-on-one?
Well, remember, in most of the counties around here, there are standing orders in effect
Yes.
that say that the parents are not allowed to talk to the children about the litigation at all. And so my recommendation, I get this question a lot from the parents in that initial call that I make with them. My initial recommendation is to just don't even tell them. Just say, hey, we're having somebody over for dinner. Her name's Jen. And so I just slide in. A lot of kids don't care anyways. So I just slide in that way. The reason I don't want the parents talking to the kids about me or my role to start off with is I don't want them shading the process one way or another. I don't want the kids to be afraid of me. What I'm trying to do in these initial meetings with these children is to form a bond so they trust me. And so I want to let the kids know why I'm there and what I'm doing in a developmentally appropriate way. Part of my role as an amicus is to let the kids know why I'm there, but a typical example of the way I would describe it to a kiddo would be to say, hey, I'm here to help your mom and dad figure out what's best for you, instead of what I can only imagine a parent might say, there's this lawyer that's coming over to decide whether or not you're going to get to see me ever again, or, who knows what they're going
Right.
to say, but yeah.
And I think it changes too, at least from my perspective, when I've had them. If the kid's 15, 16, 17, you can
Absolutely.
get into a lot more detail, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
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 A question we get a lot, people think if you're the amicus, you are the attorney for the child. I don't think we've really touched on that or to give clarity. So can you talk about the difference in that role versus an ad litem?
An amicus attorney is there to, like I was saying earlier, be kind of investigator for the court. So you are a neutral who is there to try to figure out what's in the best interest of the children, and then make sure that the evidence that's presented to the court is fair and balanced. In other words, you're not advocating for mom, you're not advocating for dad, you're advocating for the best interest of the kids. An attorney ad litem is the advocate or the attorney for the child. So if you are the attorney ad litem, you're supposed to find out the expressed objectives of your client, who is the child. So what does the child want? What do they want to happen? And you're supposed to advocate for what they want. You're not supposed to figure out what's in their best interest.
Right.
Just, kiddo, what do you want? And then you, as their attorney, fight for that. A guardian is someone who comes in like an amicus attorney, and typically a guardian is appointed when the child is not able to give their expressed objectives. What do they want? So that may be because they have special needs. That might be because they have mental health issues, medically. There's all sorts of scenarios where a guardian would be appointed. But if you're comparing a guardian to an amicus attorney, a guardian is typically a non-lawyer who is a witness in the case. So they get to come in and they get to tell the judge straight out what they believe is in the best interest of the child. When there's a guardian appointed, there's always an attorney ad litem as well. So it's a guardian and an attorney who is representing the child, who is going after those expressed objectives of the guardian if their client is not able to tell the attorney ad litem what to fight for, if that makes sense. The amicus attorney is just looking after, searching for what's in the best interest of the child and making sure if they're not able to help resolve the case before going to trial, making sure that all of the evidence is presented to the judge in order for the judge to find what's in the best interest of the child. Remember, mom's attorney is advocating for what mom wants. Dad's attorney is advocating for what dad wants. So in the crosshairs of that, there might not be fair and balanced evidence being presented to the court.
Right.
So that's where the amicus comes in.
You're there to call balls and strikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful too if there's like so much he said, she said going on, or like they're talking to the kids about this is happening, there's alienation. I find it so helpful to have the amicus come in and just with fresh eyes look at everything and see what's really going on.
Yeah.
What would you say is the main difference between your role and what would happen during a custody evaluation?
Okay. So a child custody evaluator is tasked with the specific role of giving a recommendation to the court. As the amicus attorney, I do a lot of the same things that a child custody evaluator would do. I go into the home, I'm talking with the parents, I'm talking with the children, I'm talking with other professionals. So the doctors, the teachers, the coaches,
Counselors.
definitely the counselors. But at the conclusion of this, I am not giving a formal report to the court as to what my recommendation is. Another difference is, I think with a lot of child custody evaluators, so I'm a family litigator as well. So a lot of times with child custody evaluations, you don't really know until you get that formal report from the child custody evaluator.
Yeah, like a year later.
Could be a while.
Whereas with an amicus attorney, I'm kind of on the scene at all times to help triage as issues are happening throughout the case. So I'm getting involved with little snippets here and there when there are conflicts going on during the case. I'm also trying to help the parties to find compromise throughout the case, whereas an evaluator is just giving a report at the end as to what they believe is in the best interest of the child. They're not involved throughout the case with conflict, nor are they involved with trying to help the parties have an amicable resolution in the process.
Yeah, I think a big difference is the evaluator. You, as an amicus or the evaluator, you have unfettered access to information from all those doctors, teachers, friends, neighbors, the kids, parents. So you get all that information, but I feel like the evaluator, they're compiling that data to put in their report. Part of your role is to help not only investigate, but then solve problems.
Right.
And you're doing that real time as the case develops.
That is correct.
Right. And then also you can file motions. You get to call witnesses at a hearing, just like another attorney would, whereas a custody evaluator, they're on the witness stand. They don't get to question people.
Right.
So those are big differences.
So I mentioned I don't get to stand up in court and give the court what I believe my recommendations are. So I don't file a report with the court as to, hey, Judge, this is what I think you should do on XYZ issues. Instead, if we have to go to court, most of my cases where I serve as an amicus attorney, we settle outside of court because the parties both know kind of where I'm at before we even walk into the courthouse. So I think that helps resolve issues. But the way that I convey what I believe is in the best interest to the judge at a final trial would be the witnesses that I would call, definitely the way that I ask questions.
Yeah.
So I've been a litigator for 20 years now. These judges know me, and they know there are ways that you can ask a question where it is absolutely clear where that person stands.
Right.
Yeah. So.
And I think a difference too, although you can't tell the judge officially or formally, here's what I recommend for possession. Tell me how you do it, because this is what I do in my cases as the amicus. I'll let all the parties and the attorneys know going in, here are my thoughts. This is what I think would be best possession-wise. So you can make those recommendations outside of court.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And do you do that same thing?
Absolutely. I do it as soon as I know what I believe is in the best interest of the kids. And a lot of times, again, amicus attorneys get appointed when these are cases where parents do not get along. So there are almost always going to be issues that pop up throughout the case.
High conflict.
Yes, absolutely high conflict. And so I think as these issues come up and as the amicus attorney, you're helping to help the parties resolve these issues. If the parties can't figure it out, then I'm absolutely telling everyone what I think. And so I think it becomes clear with the parties, you know, the more of these issues that pop up as to where the amicus is going to stand. So I don't think it's ever a huge surprise to anyone when I'm done, you know, looking at all the evidence and evaluating everything as to where I stand.
Which is helpful for us as
Yeah,
the
very helpful.
attorneys for the parents, because then we can work with our clients to say, here's kind of what we know the amicus will say,
Yeah.
which the judge will probably rely heavily on.
Yeah,
So let's settle.
yeah.
Follow us and join the conversation on Instagram and YouTube at Sidebar Social.
All right, Jenny, so you're talking about recommendations, how you're trying to help settle, but I feel like we've kind of skipped over the process that you have to go through to get to that point, right? The information gathering. So you mentioned you'll go do the home visit, meet with the kids at each house, but it doesn't end there. Like, talk a little bit about the ongoing interaction you have with the kids while the case is pending.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times I go to the school and meet with the kids at the school. I want to meet with the teacher, sometimes the principal, like if the parents have had a lot going on up at the school, the principals and the teachers often are able to give me a plethora of information that neither side necessarily, it's a different perspective.
They love to talk to the amicus.
It's a different neutral
The
perspective.
teachers, principals, you
Yeah.
find
Really?
they
Oh,
love
they
talking
do.
to
Wow.
an amicus. Yeah.
Yeah.
They know that that Jen's there, the amicus is there for the kids. It's
Right.
not dad's attorney or
That's
mom's
true.
attorney. It's
Right.
somebody truly there for the kids.
Do you warn the parents that you're going to the school, or you just show up?
I just show up. Yeah, I just show up. Other ways that I am involved, like I typically, it's not just one meeting at one house and one meeting at the other. I like to, I'm trying to build a relationship with these kids. And so it depends on their ages, of course, but I like to have, after I've met at each household and each of the parents are comfortable with me as well, but I like to have subsequent meetings at the house. A lot of times if the kids are developmentally mature enough, I will give them my cell phone number so they know they can reach out to me if they need something. Kids like to text, they don't like to call. So, yeah. So anyways, I text with kiddos, and then I like to take the kids out of, after I've met at each household, take them out of that atmosphere. Maybe if their favorite thing is to eat ice cream, maybe go take them, for ice cream. So it's amazing when they're outside of the walls of mom or dad's house, some of the stuff that they will share with you. Yeah.
Is it difficult sometimes, especially I'd say with the older kids, because you're not representing them, you're representing what's best for them? Do you get at odds at times with the kids if they're like, no, I want to live with mom, and you're like, well, that's really not what's best for you?
Yeah. Those are difficult. So, but necessary sometimes. I get appointed on special needs cases a lot, but let's say it's
You're
a
great on those.
yeah. Let's say it's a neurotypical kiddo. So, and they are expressing to me why they want what they want. I think in those cases, if what they want is not what I believe is in their best interest, I'm able to talk with them in a developmentally appropriate way as to why maybe they should consider my perspective as well. Like, this is why I'm thinking we should do X, Y, Z.
So whenever we've got a situation where there is a child with special needs and we need an amicus, you're our go-to. Do you mind sharing a little bit about why, or at least in my perspective, why you're so good at that role?
So I have a son who is about to be 19, who has autism and is nonverbal. So for the last 19 years, I have been on the front lines of working with children who have special needs that are not neurotypical. So my life revolves around day in, day out, being not only around my own child, but being involved with Special Olympics, being involved with his school and his teachers. So I'm not going to say autism is the only type of special needs that I identify with or know a lot about, just because I'm up at the school a lot and I'm around other friends who are not neurotypical children.
With cases with special needs, there's a lot of nuance that goes into what a child needs. And I feel like you've got that wealth of knowledge,
Yeah.
whether it's a certain medical provider or a therapist.
Yes. So just as we've been talking about, I've been doing this for so long, I tend to get those type of cases, whether it's amicus or litigation cases. So, and then in, researching and just being a mom, doing that type of stuff, I just tend to know different resources that are out there that maybe an attorney who doesn't typically deal with cases with special education or special needs might not have the same resources. There's other nuances too. Like I have found that, at least with autism, that the way that people with autism communicate is very different. And whereas someone who doesn't know a lot about autism or doesn't have the experience being around people with autism might think that a child, let's say, is not well bonded with a parent.
Right.
It may just be because there's a dump truck outside that's making a lot of noise when you happen to be doing your in-home visit. So there's all types of nuances. Another thing is, it's not in all cases, but in a lot of cases, especially with autism, I have found that there are touches of those autism traits in parents as well. Not with all of them, but in communicating with parents of special needs kids, I can identify those things really quickly. And so where one particular attorney might think that, this parent is just being a jerk, or this parent is just unwilling to listen to, let's say, the other side's point of view, it might be like a tic that might be part of their autism, or
Right.
yeah. So blame. I find that a lot of neurotypical people, if they haven't been around others that are on the spectrum might think that someone's doing something to be evil or to
Right,
be a jerk.
intentional, yeah.
Yeah, doing it intentionally. Whereas if you've been around people on the spectrum a lot, you're able to step back and consider that it might be something else.
To learn more about today's guest, attorney Jennifer Richardson, you can check out her firm's website, richardsonbrownlaw.com.
So put your litigator hat back on. If you have a client come to you and they're like, hey, I want an amicus attorney, how do you know when it's a right fit for your case?
Amicus, having an amicus appointed is not an inexpensive process.
Yeah.
So I think the first step is to evaluate whether or not there's a chance for compromise. If there is a chance that there can be a compromise in the case, I think it's best to try to do that, because once you have an amicus on board, you're paying for another lawyer. So amicus fees typically are split by the parents. So it's a little less than what you're paying your attorney, but you're paying for another lawyer
It's
still.
another retainer.
Right. Yeah. So that's always the first thing that I, as a litigator, am going to ask my client, like, are we sure? To some extent, we get to choose what clients that we decide to take. Sometimes we don't really know what type of client we have until we're already down the road a little bit. If you have a client who doesn't work well with others and likes to dictate, maybe an amicus is not the best for you as an attorney. The best thing to have appointed in your case.
If you are that litigator that identifies, or your client identifies, we need an amicus, and you agree,
Right.
what input or coaching do you give your client as far as talking with the amicus, working with the amicus?
Right. First things first, don't talk about the amicus to the kids. After the amicus has met with the children, don't interrogate your kids as to what they talked to the amicus attorney about. The conversations that happen between a parent and an amicus attorney are not privileged.
Explain what that means for the people at home.
Yeah, so that means that the amicus can repeat what the parent is talking about to them, can bring that up in court. So isn't it true that you told me yourself XYZ when we met on Tuesday?
Right.
So it's not a confidential conversation.
Whereas their communications with their attorney
Are
protected.
confidential. That
Right,
is
that's a big
correct.
difference.
The communications between the child and the amicus attorney are confidential unless, and what I mean by that is, as an amicus attorney, you're not repeating what the kids are telling you to the other parents or to the court unless it's absolutely necessary or unless the child's in danger, obviously.
How do you navigate that on your cases, though? Do you say, like, based off what I've heard, what I've seen, and when you're talking to the parents or the attorneys, here is what I think is best without getting into the specific details?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's huge because a lot of these kids have been through litigation for a while and they lose trust, with counselors and other people that come in, even the custody evaluators.
Yeah.
And so I found that to kind of be a big thing with the kids, getting the kids to talk and build trust.
That's exactly why I don't want the parents talking to the children about who I am and why I'm there. I want to try to build that trust with the kids and then explain it to them in a way that I think will be beneficial. I want them to understand why I'm there, but again, a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old compared to a 16-year-old is a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
Same thing with neurotypical kids versus a child with disabilities or special needs. It's a completely different conversation.
So what would you say if you can think of one off the top of your head, like a success moment or, a situation where you were the amicus and you got the warm and fuzzy feelings at the end of it?
Man, when kids, so just recently I had on my second visit, when I pulled up, we had talked about my truck. I drive a big blue F-150, right? So we had talked about my truck on my first visit. On my second visit, the kids come running out the door as I'm pulling into the driveway. And, they're standing at the edge of the sidewalk, but.
All excited.
And just, yeah. I mean, these are a couple of younger kiddos, but just, that they are, I had bonded with those kids really quickly. And so just that they trust me. And, when kids are finally telling you what their heart is about this situation or that situation, just knowing that they trust you, that, I don't know, just that you can help. You can be a piece of the puzzle towards an amicable solution to all of this is why I do it. I want to help kids. Kids don't ask to be in these situations, right?
And have you found that through your work as the amicus, you believe you've helped set up the family for a better tomorrow?
I do. So I'm a mediator as well. And so I feel like from day one of meeting with families or parents, I'm already starting to try to lay the groundwork for compromise, resolution, maybe giving tips to maybe have you considered this or that, to try to help the parents have better parenting skills moving forward.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of coaching.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I know it's not just you. Your husband also joined us on episode 11 to talk about mediations. We're just both so grateful for everything that you guys do for the legal community and for kids. So thank you again.
Yeah, we do appreciate it. And if you want more information, richardsonbrown.com, that's your website, correct?
Yep.
richardsonbrownlaw.com.
richardsonbrownlaw.com.
Yes.
Yes, and that's where you can learn all about you and your husband, Mr. Brown. Well, thank you again for coming on, and we'll see you guys next time on Sidebar Social.